All right. Well, first off, again, Miss Kayla, which is, let me make sure I make a note of it, not call you Kyla again. Like my
No,
cousin's name is Kyla, so I was like, okay.
oh, okay.
That was the first thing that popped up. So, but again, thank you so much for agreeing to come on. And so Kayla, of course, I'm wanting the main thing about this is I'm wanting to bring just awareness to autism, and I'm wanting to provide a little support to parents that are out here that may not necessarily have it, or at the very least be able to get a few tips that they can use from you. Okay.
Okay.
So, number one, I know you have two kids. Are both of your kids on the spectrum of autism?
Just my oldest, Daniel.
Th-
Yeah, he's about to be 4 actually, but he's on the spectrum. Yeah.
Gotcha. So I guess my number one question is because you're all over Instagram with him, and so like, what was the motivation behind wanting to film his life or days in his life on Instagram?
My biggest one because I don't see it that often. It's like a topic that's pretty much taboo. People don't want to talk about it, or you're not supposed to talk about a child being autistic, or it's supposed to be in secrecy. Um, Especially when I grew up, I didn't see that much of people who are autistic. And so it was like, why are we hiding this? Like, this is who they are. They're not, it's not a disease or anything. It's not the cooties or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Um, so definitely just wanting to just like everyday lifestyle where the ups and downs of how we, day to day, how we live, and also be able to get some tips and tricks from other parents that may not even are aware of myself, and also be able to teach somebody else. um, and so that's the biggest reason that's why I started the Instagram page, because it's very tricky and sometimes very hard to try to basically navigate through their life when you don't really
Okay.
understand yourself. Um,
Okay.
for instance, I can be 100% honest. I was in denial of my son being autistic because I didn't see it that much growing up. And so I was just like, no, it's like a phase he's going through. Like, he'll get through it, he'll be okay. But once I was just like, okay, he's going on 4, so something's still not something's still not going on. So I was like, let's just go ahead and get him evaluated. And lo and behold, now that I got him evaluated, and now that I know, it's so much easier without having to live day by day like, okay, something's still going on, his developmental delays, nonverbal, what's going on, and to be able to be like, you know what, this is why he does such and such, or this is how he responds to such and such. So that's pretty much the short reason of why.
The motive.
Yeah.
So okay, so he was recently diagnosed. So within the
Uh,
last year, I would say.
it was, what? I know it was definitely last year, 2019, and I
Okay.
want to say it was maybe like around March or so is
So
when.
early, so earlier on, before the age of three, then. So what were some signs or some things that you were ignoring that were there? So like what, you know, like what was going on? Like what was his behavior like?
So completely nonverbal.
Okay.
Um, didn't speak whatsoever. Still to this day, he's nonverbal, but he'll plug his ears like this, basically. He'll plug his ears when anything's like loud or when he's excited. No matter what, he just always plugged his ears. And then he doesn't look directly at you when you're talking to him.
Okay.
It's more so past you. So
Yeah.
he'll look in your direction, but not directly at you. And then also, it honestly wasn't until my sister who pointed out, was just like, hey, is he okay? What's going on? Because it was hard to have a conversation with him. Mind you, he doesn't look at you, but it's like his attention span was very, very short.
Mm,
So once I actually was just like, hey, Kayla, it's okay. Let's get him,
yeah.
evaluated to see what's going on. And I know they say don't compare kids to each other, but when he wasn't reaching those milestones for his age, like the
Mhm.
average milestones, that's when I was like, okay, yeah, there's something that's definitely there. So
And so, what about the evaluation process then? So once you finally started that, how did that go?
I wish it was a little bit easier, the evaluation
Okay.
process, because believe it or not, I had to wait about 9 months to get him to just see a specialist.
Oh,
So
wow.
yes, so I had to wait about 9 months for him just to see a specialist, and it was actually very quick, the evaluation part of it. Like once he actually seen the specialist, it's the waiting that gets
That
me.
get,
So it's literally the waiting, but once he saw the specialist, it was very quick. They told me that he's the non-invasive. I can't remember the last part of it, but it's basically the part where he's in the category where it's something there, but they can't pinpoint exactly what's going on.
in
So
regards to autism
yeah,
or?
in regards to autism, yeah. So, but I would definitely say when it comes to the whole evaluation, just honestly, patience. You got to have patience. And I know it's something that parents would like to just hurry up and get done within like 24 hours or so.
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, that's not the case. You do have to wait. But once the specialist, whoever they go to get the evaluation done, it's like smooth sailing from then on. So I definitely say for me, in our experience, was just the time period between when I saw the specialist. Once we saw the specialist, they do a little bit testing, see what's going on, how he reacts to a few things, and then that way they can determine exactly like what's going on or if there is anything going on.
So let me jump to mommy mode really quickly. So you started the evaluation, you come back, the experts have said that there's something going on here. He's somewhat on the spectrum. This is what we probably need to do going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So as mommy Khalah, how how do you process that? Like what's next or what happened next for you?
For me, it was literally, sorry, my kids in the background, so if you hear them, yeah.
Girl, that's fine. Like
No,
that is
yeah,
no
let's get the
problem.
hands up. Yes.
Like that was expected,
Yeah.
by the way.
I
Like
just
do
wanted to
not
be sure.
silence them
Yeah.
at all. That was expected. Like I
Uh,
promise.
Definitely for me, as I said it before, I was in denial in the beginning. Um, so once it finally clicked, like, you know what, just accept it because obviously that is who he is. Um, don't get me wrong, there are times, especially like for instance, I'll give you an example. As a mother who has a son who's autistic and nonverbal, let alone just taking him or putting him on the bus to go to school, it's so hard for me. Like it
Mm,
makes me just want to cry because I have to put my trust in his teachers and also like the school bus driver. Due to one, he is autistic, but also he is nonverbal. So he can't tell me, "Hey, mommy, I didn't like what this person said to me," or "I had a great day." Like
yeah.
it tugs my heart. It really does. But at the same time, it's like I have to put myself out of the scenario because one, by me, when I was in denial about it, I was really doing more harm than good because I
Mm,
wasn't giving him the help that he needed. I wasn't reaching out for any resources and things of that nature. So once I say from my experience, take yourself out of it because this is about my son and his developments and him being able to learn the best way that he can.
yeah.
It was all good from there. So I can't really say what advice I would give to parents who are going through this, but I'm being so honest with you. It was tough for me. It was truly tough in I want to say maybe the first 4 months of waiting because it's like, man, Khalah, think about where you could be now or where he could be now if you weren't such in denial. But I wasn't going to guilt trip myself through that, or I wasn't going to be like, oh, why did I not do this? Because we're here, we're at this point now. But just learn from that experience. So, hey, that's what I could tell friends. Learn from your
Learn
experience.
from your
Learn from
learn
their
from
experience.
okay.
Yes,
Learn from your experience. Learn
yes.
from your experience. So
Learn
okay,
from
so
their
now
experiences.
yeah, you brought up your sister a moment ago. So
Yeah.
now my question is now about support. So how was that with your family members and your friends and coming to this new realization? Are they there to support you and if so, how?
They're definitely very supportive. So I come from a very large family. So they are definitely supportive. Like for instance, I started sign language with my son. And so usually about every week I give them an update and I tell them what signs we're doing. So that way when they're trying to talk to Daniel, like, hey, Daniel, do you need help? And they'll do the sign. And so that way he can communicate with them. They're definitely 100% supportive. because I was like, if they're not, I don't know, I would be going crazy right now. Yeah. But they're so supportive, even to where they'll ask me without me actually initiating anything, how's down school going? Or how what's he doing today? Like, is he any updates, or you staying the same? Like anything that I could do. I kid you not, his aunt, my sister, we talk every single day, and she always asks about Daniel. Even when she'll see him in the background, she'll still say hi, Daniel, like have a conversation with him. So my support system is very, very great, and I am so blessed to say that, because I know not everybody has that, but my support system is very, very great, and I love
That is so
it.
amazing to hear.
Yeah.
That is so amazing to hear. Like it really, really is. Like not to say that I was hoping for anything else,
Oh,
but
no.
I am so glad to hear that. Like
Yeah,
I really am. Like
yeah,
that is so good to hear.
it's so
Especially within our community, like all jokes aside. Like it is
true.
just whew.
And it makes me wonder, like, it's so crazy, because it makes me wonder why, like in our community,
Yeah.
why we shy away from having this type of discussion. For instance, I've seen a lot of parents who like, no, my son or my daughter doesn't have that. And it's like, but you don't know. And it's okay. Like they make it seem like it's a very bad thing for their child to be either autistic or whatever the case may be going on. And I'm just like, no, it's okay. No need to cry over spilled
I was speaking to a couple of experts right before this call, and so one
milk.
of the things that came up is a lot of times, and it's so crazy that she used these words, but she was like, you have to. She's like, you have the idea of what your perfect child would be like, and
Yes.
you have to basically. She didn't say kill the idea, but almost. It was almost to the tone of having the death of that idea of
Yeah,
what the perfect child should be like or what your
exactly.
dreams were of your child and now recreate something new is what she was really trying to say. So
Yeah.
I would only imagine that, as a parent, that if something does go wrong or if your child is on the spectrum, that,
Mhm.
you have to give up all of these ideas, and that would be so tough to do,
Yes. Yeah.
extremely tough to do.
Yeah. It's tough
Um,
because, yeah, because especially, I kid you not, a lot of people, especially myself, I'm guilty of it, comparing child to child. It's just like, yeah, they're talking, they're walking, they're doing stuff, they're riding down, singing, and it's like, man, but my child's not doing that. What am I doing wrong? So that's why I'm just like, no, you ain't doing nothing wrong.
Speaking of that, which is
Mhm.
honestly was not one of my questions, but I'm going to ask you: did
Okay.
you ever go through that phase where and you don't have to answer, but did you ever go through that phase where you were possibly blaming yourself for everything that was going on? That you were the cause of this at
Yeah,
all?
yeah,
Oh
I
wow!
truly did. Yeah, because so I did have a little bit of a not too much of stressful pregnancy. So it's a little bit of stressful pregnancy, and then when he did say like "mama," "dada," like that baby talk, and so I was like, okay, he got it down, and then he started like doing wave high when he was a little bit younger. So I didn't really keep up with it because I thought that once he had like got it down, I didn't have to keep doing it. And
Yeah.
so my biggest thing, what I learned was that I was not consistent with him at all.
Oh
And
wow!
that's what made me feel extremely guilty, because I'm like, Kayla, like you guys were doing this. We started sign language. We did flashcards. So by not being consistent, it's like I have to start all over again.
So how
But
did you talk yourself off? Because that could be a downward spiral as a parent.
yeah,
So how did you talk yourself off of that ledge?
once I seen, and then also outsiders was telling me basically like your son is not really doing this, and like maybe we should just readjust something or adjust something. So for me, it honestly wasn't until somebody was like kept pointing out to me, like, hey, basically, if as an example, your shoes untied. Oh, I'm not going to tie it up. But your shoe's untied. Oh, I'm not going to tie it up. Your shoe is untied. Yes. Yes. So, yeah.
Oh my lord!
Yes. So it wasn't until I had someone, and also my sister as well, point out to me like, hey, I know you're in denial, but let's just go see somebody. Like, there's no harm in doing that. And all you could have was just a conversation. So, and it's so crazy that you mentioned that, because I actually do have a friend who's going through the same thing that I went through. And I basically just told her everything what I experienced, but also I said, you are the only one who can make that choice. I can give you as many advice that you want to hear or don't want to hear, but I can't force you to do anything. If you do want your child to grow or stay still, whatever got going on, hey, I'm still going to be here for you regardless of whatever you decide to do. But when I feel like it's a form of a little bit of depression, but once you literally get out of it, you will feel so much better. And my biggest thing is have a support system. I cannot stress that enough. Like, for instance, how I just started my Instagram page with my sons, I did not expect to get to meet anybody new like this, especially yourself. Yes, yes. So that's why I was just like, just put yourself out there. To be honest with you, put yourself out there, because people, especially people like you and myself, there are some people out there who are willing to help. Yes, who are here for you, who are just really here for you to be able to, for you to learn, and also help us, like teach us as well, because not every experience is the same.
So speaking of experiences and lessons, like what has been your biggest lesson that you've learned thus far with raising him and teaching him something new?
Definitely take my time, and don't put a time limit on him. Because I do teach him. Oops, sorry, Dylan. Sorry, Dale's not being nice to his younger brother. It's
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. Here, baby. Here you
You're
go.
fine. You're fine.
Yeah, they're taking toys from each other, not just one.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
civil rivalry. Like, okay, that's yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the biggest lesson that I definitely had to pretty much just learn is that timing is everything, and also consistency. Timing for Daniel, I could not expect him to get it down right then and there. And I had to learn, because I was like, basically take a breather. When I teach him a sign every week, something new every week. And so every week. And so by him, say for instance, we start on Sunday. If he doesn't have it down till Thursday, that's okay. We'll just keep using that sign for the next week. I don't have to teach him one until like 2 weeks from now. So definitely timing, but also consistency is very big. And that's something that I did struggle with in the beginning, because I was like, oh, well, he got it down. He's a fast learner. So, no point in keeping up with it. And I was just like, wait, I'm doing the total opposite. Like, he has to keep it. So definitely consistency is also another thing big that I had to learn, because I say that, and this is my motto, that basically my son should not be, sorry, the only place I saw Dylan. He's like all over the conversation. Um, School is not the only place my son needs to learn, and so that's what I definitely live by day to day. Because I should not expect teachers or siblings or aunties, uncles to teach my son if I'm totally capable. I may not have all the answers, but I can start the basics. So,
So speaking of that though, how has that changed? Because I'm assuming that you all are going through virtual learning right now.
oh,
Is that correct?
he's actually at school, physically at school.
Oh, he's physically at
Yeah,
school.
yeah, he's
Oh
physically at
wow.
school. Yes, yeah. I kid you not, I contemplated it so much, but just knowing how he learns, he will not sit
Hmm.
down. He won't sit down, but he'll sit down if it was like a game or something he actually wanted to enjoy doing.
Hmm.
But just to
Hmm.
be able to sit down and look at a teacher, he won't do it. He needs that environment, like a controlled environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I was like, okay, he had the opportunity to do virtually, especially nowadays. I was like, yeah, I really don't want him outside with all those people, but it's best for him. Yeah. It is what's best for him. And so we are doing he's physically going to school. Um, and I'm so glad I stuck to my gut. I'm so glad that I allowed him to do so, because now he has routine. He knows, like, every morning, okay, after we eat breakfast, get dressed, grab my backpack. I'm going to school. I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to learn. So, because if we were to do it at home, there's no telling. I would be going crazy myself.
Because because a lot of parents, and my nephew is one of them now. Like they didn't necessarily have that option
Oh,
They were
really?
did not have the option whatsoever, and so
Oh
they're
my
having to do
goodness.
homeschooling, which is it's not it is so not easy for her.
How was it go? How was it
Um,
going?
so my mother-in-law is actually his
Mhm.
caregiver, and so I mean she still has to work and so forth,
Yeah.
but he's 16, so he's used to going to school, and so when you
Hmm.
talk about routine and consistency, that
Yeah.
routine is now broken. And so
Exactly.
he doesn't understand me being at home and
Uh-huh.
having to learn.
Yeah.
And so it's not it. She's been fighting with him like every single day. You know, certain things he'll do for a minute or two,
Uh-huh.
or 15 or 20 minutes. You know, he's
Hmm.
great, and then it just back off the bandwagon. You know, like nope, nope, I don't, because because he understands, and
Yeah.
it just he understands. He understands, but he doesn't understand that this is still work. You know, this is still
Yeah.
homework. This is I got to give you that portion. He doesn't understand.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely been a battle. So I'm saying that to say you're one of the lucky parents
Yeah.
out there. You are one of the lucky ones. Not everyone has that option. Like, oh wow, but that wow, wow. You
Hmm.
got the support group. You got your
Yeah.
kid going to school.
Ah, that
You
was they.
just got it. You just got it all. Okay, you just got it all. That's all that I can say. All that I can say. But I promise you, this call has been a blast for me. And again, I just really want to
Yes.
get some quick tips from you as to what you've learned kind of along your journey and your experience. And so before
Mhm.
we kind of dwindle down and end here, is there anything else that's out here, any tips or any suggestions or any advice that you would give to, I guess, a new parent that is just now discovering that their child is kind of dealing with this spectrum in this 2020 world?
Right.
Mm.
I would definitely say the main advice I would give is that one plan is not the final plan. So whatever you decide to choose to do, if it doesn't work out, that does not mean all is lost. Keep trying. Like literally keep trying because in the end it will all work out. I can't tell you how many plans, how many routines I started up and mm, like it was not good, but literally keep trying. And my biggest thing, I know it's cliche, but consistency is key, especially when it comes to teaching kids and raising kids. You have to stay consistent regardless if you want to do it or not. I'm telling you, it's
I love it.
consistency. Yeah.
I
Yes.
love like okay, so wait a second. First off, I got to say this again. I've got to repeat that. So even if a routine does not work out, do not be afraid to try another one. Like I
Yeah.
really, so okay. So that draws up a really quick question. Really quick question.
Yeah.
So how do you determine like okay, so if this routine isn't working, but wait a second, I want it to work. So
Hmm.
like how do you deal with that? You know, like taking this routine off and trying a new one. Like what was that like? I just gotta know.
I honestly would give like 2 days. two
Okay.
days to see if it's going to work out. Because like 24 hours, you're like, oh, I feel good about this. But then
Yeah.
the second day, you're like, oh, wait, hold on. It wasn't as good as yesterday. So for us, what's worked for us, literally 2 days. And then if it's still working out or if it's not working out, I'm just like, okay, you know, I got to try something new. Maybe take little pieces out of it, out of your schedule, and add
Mm,
something in, or just take something out. Don't add anything in. See exactly what's working for you. Because I do it in basically morning, afternoon, and night. That's how I do
okay.
my schedule. So if something's going great for morning and afternoon, at nighttime we're kind of struggling a little bit. Take something out or readjust.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because even though I have my plan, that's not the final plan because obviously it didn't go according to what I thought it was going to go to. So literally, it's trial and error.
I love that is a great place
Yeah.
to end. Like I love it is trial and error. I love
Hmm.
that.
It's
I
trial and
love
error.
it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. And
love
it's
it.
okay if you get some things wrong. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So
I
that's
love it.
my advice.
I legitimately love that.
Okay.
Like legitimately. I will be posting like a snippet of that really quickly on
Okay.
so I promise I will. So I will tag you because what I'll end up doing is probably cutting this up into a couple of different tips just to make sure that I can get enough out there. I will be tagging you in every last one of them. But more importantly, I cannot wait to continue to follow this story and your journey. I love your energy. I love you as a
You.
mother. I
Yeah.
legitimately do. And I'm almost certain that I'm going to be asking you some more questions. So please be prepared.
Oh no, I'm
Okay.
here. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
So in the future, I will be asking you some more questions
Yes.
because this is all new for me as well. And it's just
Okay.
there's so much that I don't know, and there's so much I know because we're here in Memphis, and then we're also in Peoria, Illinois,
Okay.
and so the support groups are drastically different in both
Yes.
locations.
Yes.
And
Okay.
what we're learning is there's just so much information out there, but not everyone knows where to go to find it. Not everyone necessarily trusts everything. And so we're
Hmm.
wanting to just make sure you decide whatever you want. Here it is. Here's the
Okay.
information. This is what you can do. And so that anyway, in a nutshell, that's what the purpose of all of this is. But I will be asking you some more questions in the future, so you look forward to them.
Yes, I definitely will. Hey, I'll be here.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll
Again,
be here.
thank you so very much for
No
this quick
problem. It's
chat.
my pleasure.
We will be in touch soon.
Okay, sounds
All
good.
right.
Okay,
All right.
bye.
Have a good
Thank
Sunday.
you.
Bye.
Bye.